Okay, so my name is Dian, and I'm going to be talking today about social media. Okay, so I don't think any of you guys need definition on social media. Yeah, I'm sure everyone here is hooked up to the social media. Yeah, so Alhamdulillah. So social media is something which, as Muslims, we have to be very responsible regarding. So we all know, as Muslims, we are responsible for our actions and we are responsible for our words. These are two important things that the Prophet ﷺ, he laid out. In one narration, he actually says, Muslim is that one who other Muslims are protected from the person's tongue and the person's actions. Yeah. So in other words, sometimes they say that I'm okay. So otherwise, I'm going to feel a bit sleepy, Ghazi. Yeah. So I had a big plate of food basically, and when I eat big plates of food, I feel a bit sleepy and drowsy, and it might become contagious as well. So some of you guys might end up sleeping as well. So anyway, so the Prophet ﷺ, he's told us about the importance of our words and our actions as well. And as time goes by, humans will still be able to benefit one another through words, and they'll also be able to harm one another through words as well. Yeah, sticks and stones, sticks and stones, right? Is something which we all know. And in fact, in the time that we're living in today, as Muslims, we have to be more cautious than ever. Simply because we're living in times today where Muslims are being judged by every single thing that they do. Right? So you can be a non-Muslim, you can do exactly the same things, you can do a social experiment, a Muslim, and you can have a non-Muslim, and they do exactly the same things, but Muslim will get singled out for many of the actions that they'll do, unfortunately. So this is why the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned to us, he said, in a hadith in Tirmidhi, he said that a person might utter words, and those words are so pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this gives them the highest statuses in paradise without them even knowing. Yeah, so one word that you say, and a verse of the Quran comes to mind. This verse of the Quran is regarding an ant. So Sulaiman alayhi salam is traveling with his army, and they come across this valley of ants now. So if you're an army and you're with your troops and you're marching down, and there's a colony of ants, and these ants are scared of you, then what's the likelihood that you're going to stop and you're going to be cautious about how you cross past the ants? Very unlikely, isn't it? So
I'm not sure what's going on.
No, it's fine. No.
Yeah.
Say it's gone.
I think they're excited about the talk. Yeah, so don't worry. Inshallah. So anyway, so the ant is a very interesting one, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the Quran, he says, when Sulaiman Islam came, he says the ant spoke. And what did the ant say? Ya ayyuhan namal udkhulu masakinakum. O ants, enter into your homes. La yahtimannakum Sulaiman wa junuduhu. So that Sulaiman and his army don't crush you without realizing it. So imagine this now. An ant, the communication of an ant is going to be very rudimentary or very primitive compared to human communication, isn't it? So human speech is very sophisticated, the way we speak. There was a documentary that I was watching about human speech, and it was basically about how if a human being does not learn how to communicate before a certain age, then it becomes very difficult for that human to be able to speak. Right? And they did this test on this lady who was deaf and dumb until a certain age, and then after that, she just couldn't learn how to speak. And they found that human beings, when it comes to speech, that they actually, like in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he talks about human speech. This is one of the things that he singles out human beings with. And he says, Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, Allama al-Quran, Allamahul Bayan. Says Allah, he taught mankind, he programmed mankind in how to communicate with one another. Right? So, and how did they communicate? So this documentary was showing, there were these prisoners in America. There was, have you heard of the mega prisons? So in these mega prisons, they've got mega criminals, right? And what they've done is they've separated the men from the women, and there were these Latino gangs in those prisons. So what used to happen was they have this kind of like hierarchy of how they work. So they all have this boss, and then they have these like managers, and then they have, you know, the foot soldiers, and then they have this system inside of prison and outside of prison, right? So it's like a very sort of like, you know, it's basically Apple, yeah, but it's, you know, they're given the name criminals, yeah, very sophisticated business system they've got. So the way they work is if anyone's found outside grassing on them, snitching on them, what they do is they communicate with one another. So one of the methods is they invented their own language. So there'd be like these men on one side of the field, and there'd be women on the other side of the field, and they taught each other the sign language from long distance. They just taught it to each other. So the prison guards had a problem because they didn't know what they were saying. It wasn't a structured language. So it's like, you know, that rap in London, drill rap, yeah, in London. Right? The police have a big problem with that, don't they? Because they have coded messages in their rap that they're communicating with one another. And the police are still trying to find out. They're trying to find this out. Like, what are they saying? So going back to this ant, imagine, communication is not very sophisticated, but Allah, He translates for us what the ant was saying. So this ant says, Ya ayyuhan namat, O ants, you know, udkhulu masakinakum, go into your homes, so that Suleiman doesn't crush you. And so Allah teaches us a very important lesson here. Yeah, two important lessons. One is that you can save your entire nation with a good speech. Yeah, this ant saves its entire nation by simply stopping and telling them something that they need to know. Sometimes we have to tell people something that they need to know. Sometimes, you know, you have an inspiration, you have one of those Rumi moments, yeah, where you kind of just want to put that Rumi quote up and inspire everyone, yeah, and make them better people. And so, just by words that you say, so many changes have occurred. That's the first thing you learn. You look in history as well. Most of the revolutions occurred, if you think about it, most of the revolutions occurred is with these amazing speeches that were given, or talks that were given, or even sayings that were said. And the second thing is, interestingly enough, this ant was actually a female ant. It was actually the female ant the one that might be considered the weakest in the community, right? You know, ladies first, yeah, then men. This ant is the one getting up and telling all the men, right, get into your homes before Suleiman comes. So it's very important. So these are two things that we learn. I'm going to mention a few more things from this incident as well. But before I do, there's this YouTuber I watch, yeah, and he's in the Philippines and he's got this ant farm. I don't know, have you guys ever seen it? I think it's called World Ant or something. You never heard of it, yeah? And this guy's just amazing. He's got this whole room, he's built these specially designed ant farms he's built. And he's got all these ants from around the world. And he just films them, and he does one, a David Attenborough, you know, double. Yeah, so he describes how these ants move and what they do. And if you watch that, you become very interested. You start thinking to yourself, oh yeah, ants have a really interesting life. Yeah, because it's not just simply a small little insect that's walking around the earth and then goes in the ground and then just procreates and then, you know, dies. It's actually a sophisticated system that they have. So Allah telling us about this ant is not simply telling us that there are ants and this incident occurred. Allah is actually giving us hints and clues that, you know what, find out about the ants. Find out about how ants are so organized. What do ants do that make them so sophisticated? And one of the things that you find is the ant language. So this guy talks about ant language, and ants' communication is unique. It's like a thumbprint. Every ant has its own unique sound that it makes. And it's able to communicate information to other ants in a way, you know, that humans have only really kind of discovered nowadays through social media. So you can say the first pioneers of social media were the ants. Yeah, so ants are very interesting. Now, the other thing that this ayah mentions, then I'm going to move on to another point, is that when it comes to ants, this particular scenario, this particular incident, the ant says some very interesting things. One of them, the ant says is, "Oh ants, enter, get into your homes, enter into your homes." Right? Okay, that's understandable. Well, you obviously say to someone to save themselves. لا يحتمنكم سليمان, so that Suleiman doesn't crush you. وهم لا يشعرون, whilst they are unaware. Now this is a very important point. Why is the ant making excuses for Suleiman? Yeah, what's the ant saying? Get to your homes so that Suleiman doesn't crush you without knowing. And unknowingly, Suleiman might end up crushing you. So it's like Allah is showing us that always try to make excuses for other people. It's very important that when we are communicating with one another on social media, we always have to understand that a lot of fights occur. We stop talking to each other. Why? Because of lack of communication. I'll give you an example here. When I was studying, I actually studied in Pakistan. Okay, so I studied the Alamiya course in Pakistan, in Karachi, and I was there for about 9 years. So in the place that I studied at, there was like a lot of foreigners there. So from all over the world, they were studying there. So there was a guy there. This guy was from Tunisia. Anyone from Tunisia? No? Anyone heard of Tunisia? Anyone been to Tunisia? Okay, anyway. So Tunisia, this guy here, he used to, we used to sleep in the same room, yeah? So there was about 12 of us, we had this big hall. And we used to stay in there. So one day, I was sitting on my bed, and I was eating something, right? As you do, right? You know, you're away from home, you got your own supply of snacks, yeah? Limited number of snacks that have come from home, abroad. So I was eating, and he came in. So, you know, I'm a very generous guy, yeah, as you guys are all going to start to know. So I said to him, would you like to eat? I said to him in Arabic, would you like to eat? He looked at me, and he turned his face and walked out. And I thought, what's happened now? Maybe, you know, sometimes what used to happen was like news used to come from home. Something's happened at home, you know, like foreigners. And then, you're going to give him a bit of time. So I thought I'll give him a bit of time. Later on, maybe he'll be okay. One day went by. He never used to come into the room when I was awake. He would avoid coming in the room. He'd come after like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I thought, okay, you know, mashallah, this guy's a proper into revision. Yeah, 6 months before the exam. This guy's going to start doing his revision. So I thought, okay. So, you know, I didn't think anything of it. Yeah, day 2. Yeah, doesn't come in the room. So he used to come in the room before he used to wake up. He used to go out. Day 3. Now I knew something's wrong here. 3 days. The guy that's his bed is right next to your bed, right? And he doesn't come to the room for 3 days. Yeah. Number 1, he's going to be smelling very bad, and number 2, yeah, something's wrong. So I just ignored it. You know me, the usual kind of guy. Yeah, just get on with it. So third day he comes to me. And he sits next to me. So, but basically, let me tell you something. So, in the summer, basically, you can't sleep in the rooms, in the dorms, because it's too hot. Like, even if you have the fan on and everything, it's just too hot. So, you sleep outside, outdoors, and, you know, under the stars. Well, under the polluted stars. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm lying down there, and I've got my, sleeping bag. I'm lying down. Oh, that. Just not gone to sleep. And guess who sits right next to me? Cross-legged, with his arms folded. And I'm thinking, okay, here goes. I go, yes. How's things? And he turns his face. And you know what he does? He gives me a note. So I go, what's this? Like, it's nighttime, it's dark outside. Right? And so I look at the note. And it's before the days of the mobile phone as well. So I read it, and he says to me, how are you? Okay, give me another one. And he goes to me, do you know why I'm not speaking to you? I go, oh my God. It's going to be one of those ones now, yeah? It's going to be like one of the primitive WhatsApp messages, yeah? And you got to after the full stops and everything, you know. So basically, yeah. So I'm reading it, and he goes to me, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know why. Yeah. Then he goes to me, do you remember what happened the other day? And I say, which day? Give me a date. So he goes, no. He says, you know, that day when you were sitting in the room and you were eating. I go, yeah, and I said to you, would you like to eat? And he goes to me, yeah, exactly. Why did you say that? And I said, what? You are upset for 3 days. You haven't spoken to me simply because I asked you, because I'm such a nice guy, I said to you that would you like to eat, and now you're not going to speak to me for 3 days. I know, what kind of thing is this? And then he goes to me, no. Yeah, he's writing all down. Yeah, he's writing all down and like editing it as he's going. Yeah. So then he writes it to me and goes, "Yeah, well, you should have said in a command, eat. How dare you say to me, would you like to eat?" Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know the the etiquette of your language. Yeah, because who knows in England? What do we say? If you have a pack of crisps and you say to someone, yeah, you don't have to force down their faces. You eat, but they say eat. So this one word, because I didn't say eat, what happened? Miscommunication. And then he goes to me. I said to him, okay, answer this. I said, why did you speak to me after 3 days? Like, what's significant about 3? So he goes to me, it comes in a hadith that if you have fight with your brother, yeah. And then I go, okay, all right, one of those ones, yeah. Anyway, we made up. Yeah, I apologize, right? Because I'm obviously a good guy. So I apologized to him and I said, hey, look, I'm very sorry. It's my fault. I should have known the etiquette of your language. He goes, I forgive you. It's okay. So we became friends again. Yeah. So anyway, the point is, look, see what happens with communication. Even when you're speaking to someone, your communication can cause friction between people. So imagine on social media, you put one word on your social media, on your WhatsApp, you just say, okay, full stop. Yeah. Some people, that might be mashallah, at least to reply to me. And to some people, that might be a secret message. Yeah, which requires like volumes of commentary. Yeah, okay, full stop, what does that mean? And sometimes you might write something and you might accidentally say something. And sometimes you might not know the context behind something. And sometimes, you might say something which is short. How many people here have gone into arguments because of what they've written? Yes, I have. Yeah, not just once, I've got loads of times. Yeah, some people, once this lady, she contacted me, she emailed me, and she asked a question. Now, I am like, as Brother Yahya knows, mashallah, first-hand experience, I'm the worst person to reply to messages. Yeah, I'm probably like in the top 10 in the world somewhere. Yeah, the worst people to reply. I don't know, do you guys reply straight away? Yeah, you take time, yeah? Sister, you reply straight away or take time?
Not the worst.
I'm not the worst.
Pretty bad as well.
Yeah, I thought at least I was good at something. So
Say this so.
So basically, I'll tell you why. Because today I actually replied to 3 people that had texted me in the beginning of October. Yeah, the beginning of October. So there was this lady. Yeah, she basically emailed me and she said to me, it was a very sad story. Yeah, and she said basically, neighbors died. And the neighbor actually got burnt, died through fire. How do you do the janazah? How do you wash the body? So I replied 2 weeks later. I said, I'm sorry, sorry for the late reply. Right? Like I have that in saved. That one was saved. Sorry for the late reply. But according to the scholars, if this is the situation, you don't have to wash the body, right? Because it's going to harm the body, or it's going to damage the flesh. And then I got the reply, one whole A4 reply. One of those ones where it says read more. It's a read more 3 or 4 times. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, ain't nobody got time for this. Yeah. Nobody's going to read this message, read more. Yeah, you give me 3 read mores and that's it. I'm putting you on 1 year's mute. So basically, this lady, she got upset. And she stopped coming to my lessons I used to have. She stopped attending my lessons because of this. I just don't know how to reply. What am I going to say? It's a very, it's a sensitive situation. And I'm not good at these kind of things. Like, some people are good at it, some people are not good at it. I'm not good at it. So see what happens. Communication. Now, the Prophet ﷺ has told us. He said that from the beauty of a person's Islam, in other words, like if you were to measure people's Islam, and some people's Islam was very beautiful, the way they practice Islam, it's very, very beautiful. And you look at some people's way they practice Islam, it looks less beautiful. Right? So imagine you had a whole scale. The Prophet ﷺ said the most beautiful person who practices Islam is the one who does not concern themselves with other people's business. This is a very important point for us when we are on social media, yeah, which is that basically keep your nose out of it. The more you keep your nose out of other people's businesses, the more you're going to have a better understanding and application of Islam. Yeah, why? Because when nosy people, when you become very nosy, then you're going to end up in fights. Then your friends are going to talk to you for 3 days. Then, you're going to have all these problems. So Islam teaches us a very important thing about, okay, you have to be able to get on with your community. Humans are social creatures. We have to be able to get on with each other, but there should always be limits. What kind of things should we keep our noses out of? Yeah, what kind of things should we keep our noses out of? So one of the things that the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions to us is the famous one, backbiting. Now, backbiting on social media, it seems as though there's different rules of Islam than in real life. Yeah, for many of us, that's the case, right? For example, like in real life, oh, please, don't talk about this guy like this in front of me because it's backbiting and I fear Allah and I don't like that kind of stuff. Yeah, when it comes on social media, all right, yeah, tell me more and let me tell you some things about this guy. Yeah, some things that you didn't even know. So what does it become? It becomes this kind of like you have this multiple personalities. Yeah. In front of someone, you're saying very nice things about them, mashallah, very nice, everything, blah, blah, blah. And then behind backs, yeah, right, when you're on your groups, we start saying things. Now, what kind of things can't we say about people? Right, so on social media. Remember, on social media, you have your post, and then you have comments, yeah? And then you have inboxes, yeah? So, for example, this is a very common one. I'm just going to give you some examples of common ones. You're on your group. Are you guys on groups, on WhatsApp groups, yeah? Yeah? No one's on a group? Is there anyone that's not on any group? Allah. Make this guy your spiritual mentor, yeah? Junaid Baghdadi. Yeah? This is a guy man you need to hang around with. So, you're on groups, yeah? So what happens on groups? Let me tell you what kind of friends you're on groups. Assalamu alaikum, is everyone okay? I hope everyone's having a nice great time. Right? Slowly, secretly, message your friend in that group. Check them out. Yeah? Look how they are giving this message. Look at that post. So you start to have your own side little conversation going on, yeah, in the side groups. This is where it can lead to saying something about someone which you're not supposed to. So the Prophet ﷺ, a man came to him and said, what's backbiting? Because the Quran talks about backbiting. The Quran equates backbiting to what? To consuming the flesh of your own brother, right? It's like a form of, you can say, spiritual cannibalism. Yeah, there's physical cannibalism and there's spiritual cannibalism. And spiritual cannibalism is worse because physical cannibalism, right, it's something which people would be disgusted of anyway. Spiritual cannibalism is enjoyable. You enjoy it, it's addictive. Yeah, and it can result in you becoming distant from Allah, and it can result in, your community having big problems too. So, this man comes to the Prophet ﷺ and he says, O Messenger of Allah, he says, there's a guy here, good scenario. Imagine he's got this problem. I'm coming out with a hypothetical scenario. There's a guy who's got a big nose, yeah, like me. And so you say to your friend, big nose over there. Yeah, can you say that? So he says that anything that hurts your brother, anything that hurts your brother, you're talking about someone and you say it in a just passing comment, but it hurts them if they were to hear what you said about them, right? You call me big nose, that's it. I'm not coming to learn university again. Yeah. So what happens is the Prophet ﷺ said, this is backbiting. This is exactly what backbiting is. To say something about someone which they dislike, right, behind their back. And then you get those clever clogs that say, well, I can say it in their face. I don't mind. Yeah. I can say it in their face. 10 times I can say it. Well, that doesn't justify it. That doesn't mean that, mashallah, it's become HMC halal now. Just because you can say it in their face. That's worse. That's actually what I said in the beginning, that a true believer, a true Muslim is the one that doesn't hurt Muslims with their words and with their actions. Right? If you say it to someone's face and you're going to hurt them, that's worse. So the Prophet ﷺ, this is backbiting. And then the Sahabi goes, O Messenger of Allah, but what if the thing that we say is not really in that person? What if it's just made up? The Prophet ﷺ said, that's slander. Yeah? That's slander, that's accusing someone of something that they don't have or they haven't done. So, this is what the Prophet ﷺ was talking about, backbiting. Now, what should you do in a situation, you're online, you want to get on with your life, yeah? You obviously got those people that enjoy this backbiting, right? And they've got the kind of ways that they start backbiting. Did you see Zaid today? Yeah. You see his post?
Stressful.
Huh? You see Zaid's post today? Yeah? Very good. Did you see? Alright. You're going to change that now? Zayda?
No,
Is there a Zayda here?
Well, let's talk about this.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah, you know, Zaid, you know, did you see the other day? Did you see what he's wearing the other day? Yeah? Tell me, who wears that?
It's too tight.
Look, it's 2019, bro. 2019, who wears those? My granddad used to wear that. Yeah. You see all these kind of things? This is backbiting. It's saying something about someone. Now, we enjoy this. We like giving our 2 pence and commenting on everything. And social media encourages that. The way social media is designed is that it hooks you in. Yeah. It gets hold of you. And this is the scary thing. In fact, do you know what the Arabs call the internet? Do you know what they call the internet? No one knows. What does WWW stand for? Does it like World Wrestling Federation? Yeah. That's a definition, yeah? So what does WWW mean? Yeah. And what walks on a web?
Spider.
So what do Arabs call it?
Spider web.
They call it the International Global Spiders Web. That's what they call it. Yeah, World Wide Web. Al-Bayt Al-Ankabut Al-Alami. Bayt Al-Ankabut Al-Alami. Bayt Al-Ankabut means the house of the spider. Al-Alam means international. It's an international spider's web. And there must be a reason why the guys who invented it called it a web. They're not just going to come out with a random word. So this shows us that the way that social media has been designed is that they will always try to adopt ways to try and, you know, bring people in, catch them in the web. And then the people who are caught up in the web, you know that the web is wrong, don't you? When you stop going on the internet, your phone goes bad. You break your phone. You know, those don't happen. You broke your phone. Phone doesn't work and you become pious for 2 or 3 days. You feel inside your heart like the first time you start praying and your heart feels clean. Yeah, you feel like that. Oh, guys, you guys still use your phones? No. Yeah, where's your phone? It's in a repair shop. It'll be ready by Friday. So in the interim period, you know, you kind of go into detox. And it's, you know, even non-Muslims know this. They know that phones have a negative impact on people's, you know, social circles, on your friendship, even at home with your spouse. It has effects with your parents. People sitting at the table eating food, and what's the first thing they have to do? Take a picture. Yeah. And then there's, you know, there's this whole culture of now people sitting down, and it's like everyone's on their phones. People, and there was this, you know, study done about phones, and they found that people were checking this was done about mothers. That mothers were checking their phones more than they were checking the children that were next to them. Yeah. Now, you know, people in cars, driving cars, texting, people dying whilst texting. It's a new phenomenon. It wasn't heard of in the last century. But this just shows you that all the problems that social media is bringing with it. And as Muslims, we have to be very careful of how we deal with it. So, how do we deal with social media? So first of all, when it comes to social media, alhamdulillah, social media is an excellent thing. Why? Because, I mean, I can reach out to so many people, right, with, you know, with my, all the work I do on social media. So, for example, like, I've got this online, I teach Arabic here. So, it's run by some TAs I have. And just recently, about 3 days ago, a lady wants to join this course. So it's basically a course. In 17 lessons, you learn how to read the Quran. You understand the Arabic in the Quran. It puts you onto that, so then you can progress. So a lady contacts the TA. She contacts me. She says, look, I've got a problem. I said, what? She said, a lady's contacted me. She wants to join. I go, mashallah, good. No, she's blind. I go, what? She says, yeah, she's blind. And on social media, for some, she's got some sort of this kind of device that the social media can read things to her. Yeah? And she can type things using some sort of a braille device. She can type things on there, and when you're communicating with her, you think she can see. But the only thing is, she said, I've just learned how to read the Quran through braille. But now I want to understand the Quran. Yeah, so look at that. Imagine this was something in the past that would have been unheard of, that people that were blind were able to learn Allah's words in this way, long distance. So now she's joined now. So make dua that, no, Allah makes it easy. There's that. So there's lots of benefits that we can have with social media. We can, you know, make people aware of global issues that are taking place. We can communicate with one another. We can organize things, just like, mashallah, you guys organized that thing the other day, yeah? Yeah, did you guys have that organized?
The dinner.
Yeah, the dinner, yeah, mashallah. Yeah, so I'm guaranteeing you, without social media, that would have been almost impossible. Yeah, to have everything done exactly how it was. So this just shows us that, look, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives us something, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives us also a responsibility with it as well. Yeah, like the famous Spider-Man said, yeah, with what did he say?
Great power.
With great power comes responsibility. Yeah. Hashtag Rumi. Yeah. I'm sure Rumi must have said it in one of his points. But see, what the point is that when Allah gives us anything in life, it doesn't come for free. We are expected to behave and to act in a particular way. You look, for example, like in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave humans the ability to be able to think. Allah mentions that He gave them the ability to ponder, to think, to speak, to communicate. That means that now their speech is going to be recorded now. The words, the communication, everything they say. Like you'd be amazed if when you read the Quran, the kind of things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about how, like Fir'aun. You look at Fir'aun, he's basically kind of like, he was running everything with his instructions. Yeah, he was like giving commands, slaughter all the children were slaughtered. He was telling her, I am God. It was his words that were having a big impact on his community in a negative way. The responsibility that a person has. So this is why, like we said, the Prophet ﷺ said, he said, Kullu bani Adam. He says that every single one of bani Adam. He says, Kullukum ra'in. All of you are shepherds. Every single one of us sitting here, we are shepherds. In other words, we have roles and we have people below us. And every single one of you will be questioned about your flock. Whatever situation we're in, whether we're a doctor, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a mother or a father or a brother or a sister, you have your particular role, and then depending on the capacity of your role, you're going to have to answer to Almighty Allah on the Day of Judgment. Everyone will. Allah will never treat the leader of a country and the person that was sweeping the roads, He's never going to treat them exactly the same. The person who was sweeping the roads will be judged according to what Allah had given him. And the person who was put into living in the West, he's not going to be judged like the farmer that's farming in a third world country. The mother who is bringing up a whole family in a village somewhere is never going to be treated the same as a woman who has a career in this country. Everyone is going to be judged according to their capacity, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them. This is why we have to take social media very, very seriously. Right? Sometimes, we laugh and joke about social media, and I can tell you lots of other jokes as well. I've got a whole, list full of them. But the serious thing is, reality is, look, if we came to this event, if we came to this talk because we want to change our lives, then those small little things in our lives, like social media, it's not really small, it's a very big thing. This is something that we should try and make effort upon. Right? Just like we have diets, to lose weight. Yeah, we should have a diet when it comes to our social media. There should be restricted things that we never touch on social media. Certain topics that we never talk about. Certain individuals we never talk to. Yeah, certain sort of like comments that we never ever make. We should at least have that. How should we do this? I used to have a friend. This friend basically, he was in Somalia. He was studying with us in Pakistan. So we never used to have phones in them days. Or if we had phones, it was one of those, old Nokia, one of those ones. Right? Which is a very olden day ones. So he used to go to the internet cafes. There used to be things called internet cafes in the olden days. Are they still there? Yeah? Country roads. Yeah. They work. I don't know if they work or not. Yeah, we just see people walking in and out. So it's like you think to yourself, you got a phone, man. Why do you have to go to an internet cafe, send an email? But in the olden days, it was something that, you went there once a week, check your emails, see what's happening at home. So this guy said to us, he goes, does anyone want to come with me to the internet cafe? And we said, no, we've already been. He goes, no, please, someone come with me. We said, why? What's wrong? Scared. He goes, no. He goes, if I know someone's with me, I know Shaitan won't whisper to me in my ear. So I end up doing something wrong. So he took measures, imagine that. You take measures so that you don't fall into it. Yeah, he used to take measures, and he would take someone all the time, and he would say, look, I just don't want something to just come up on the screen, and then later on I regret why it happened. Yeah. So, in fact, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, imagine Sahabi Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He used to actually, they used to say, he used to put a pebble in his mouth, a big pebble, right? And people asked him, why do you do that for? And he said, I just don't want to, say something that's wrong. I'd rather stay silent and control my tongue than have to say something to someone. And this is how we are in life. Unfortunately, sometimes we can fall into this trap. And we can say one word, and that one word can destroy a relationship between two people that's been there for years. And we don't want to end up doing that. Okay, now I want to finish up on this now. So, I'll give you an example in the Quran how Allah tells us about how harmful social media can become. Right? And then, inshallah, I'll finish up with some good things. There is a very famous incident that took place in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. The wife of Aisha radiallahu anha one day was with him on a journey. And she went, and what happened was, she went to go to the toilet on the journey. So she's gone to go to the toilet, and she's taken her time, and she's actually lost her necklace. So she was going to search for the necklace. She wasn't able to find it. And she comes back, and everyone's gone. The whole caravan, all of the people, they've left. So imagine you're going to Blackpool, yeah? Or you're going somewhere on a coach, and you've gone to the toilets in the service station, and you didn't know that all your whole crew have all gone. Yeah? What do you do? Yeah? So she's there, and she's really upset, she's crying. And then what they used to have in the olden days was, whenever you have a caravan, you'd have like one guy at the front on a horse, and one guy at the back. And what they would do is, they would pick up anything that was lost. So if the caravan drops anything valuable, they just pick it up and just bring it with them. So this guy comes, his name is Safwan, and he sees in the distance, in the middle of nowhere, there's a lady sitting there. And she's crying. And he goes up to her and he recognizes Aisha radiallahu anha. And then he says to her, is everything okay? What happened? How come you got left behind? And then she's crying. And then he tells her, get on the camel. So she sits on the camel. And then he takes her all the way back. And he doesn't even sit with her. He walks. So as he's going, all I'm saying here is, the information that's reached me. I'm just relaying that information. So this can become harmful to a society. So anyway, what happens? She doesn't realize. She enters the city, and Safwan's, holding the reins. She gets home, she's very tired, exhausted, and then she comes, and then she's like very tired, and she becomes ill. So the Prophet ﷺ is visiting her. So he comes in every day asking, how are you? She's got like a fever. So when she gets better, someone says to her, do you know what's happened? She says, no, what's happened? She says, people are saying that you and Safwan got up to something on the journey. That's why you guys came late. So she said, yeah, I don't understand. So she went to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, he didn't know what to do because Allah had not told him about anything. And he knew that his wife's a good person. From his experience, he knows his wife's a good person. But there's rumors that are going around about his wife. Right? Nobody wants that. So anyway, long story, she becomes very upset. And it almost ruins the marriage. It almost ruins the marriage. It almost ruins the whole of the community are disturbed because of this. So eventually Allah reveals verses in the Quran. And He frees Aisha radiallahu anha of any sort of bad thing that happened. And He says that this was actually rumors that were spread by certain individuals. And these certain individuals will have to answer to Allah on the day of judgment. So the point is that, look, people with rumors and with their, without really investigating what really happened, they begin to cause problems for the community, and even happened for the Prophet ﷺ. Something that happened in his own home, or it could have destroyed his own home. Sometimes we put stuff on social media without even realizing it, and it could be ending up destroying people's families. Yeah, just by one comment, just by one emoji, just by one image that we send. Yeah, so we have to be very cautious about this. Anyway, so what's the good news then with social media? So the good news is, according to Noah Yuvra, who is a professor in Jerusalem, right, and he's written a book called Amos Dios. I don't know if anyone has heard of it. So he actually says, in an interview he had, he said, I believe in 50 years, 70% of GPs will be out of business. Yeah, he said because they are developing through social media, and this is the benefits of social media. Yeah, GPs, no more GPs. Yeah, by the way, yeah, I have not been to my GP for 9 years, mashallah. This is another one of my achievements. Because the guy is just such a... I can backbite him because you guys don't know who he is. Yes? But the guy, every time I go to him, yeah, before I ever even enter, my heart's beating. Like, I get ill just before entering his door. Because I know he's going to criticize me before I sit on the seat. He's like one of those doctors who's treated all your family. You know those ones. And then he's going to like say, how's your mom? How's auntie? Yeah, you should be like your mom. Yeah, you should be like your uncle. Yeah, how come, like this? So he starts that whole kind of, criticism. This is how you should be. And he's Pakistani as well, yes? Oh, gosh. So then it's like double trouble. Yeah. So anyway, so those things. What he says is that they are developing, the pharmaceutical companies, they're developing these AIs now. And this AI basically will be fed all of the records of all patients in history. So all the patients in history that have been documented, they're gonna give it to all the AIs. They're gonna feed the AI everything. And then this AI will look at all the possible treatments that have ever been given, which ones are successful. Right? And imagine this: you go to your doctor, you have to have an appointment. Yeah, and then you have to my doctor, you have to first of all get ill before you're gonna enter his room. And then you're going to wait for the prescription and then all that. So this AI will actually give you a kind of device, a watch that you're going to wear. And even before you get ill, your app will tell you that it looks like you're getting ill. I would suggest today you don't eat these foods. And you start eating these, and you might want to, take this medicine as well. So even before the app will be able to diagnose your illness, even before it happens. And they're going to become so sophisticated that it will be updated in real time. In real time around the world, all the latest things that are happening. It will be updating all the trends. It will be updating. And it will tell you, don't go to this place because most likely there's certain people over here that have got flu and have got a cold. Right? You might catch it from them. Stay away from this restaurant. Now you think about that, yeah? Do any of you want that? Obviously I do. Yeah. Instead of me going to my GP, imagine you had this, right? Social media, unfortunately, one of the negative side effects of social media is it makes people antisocial. Yeah, that's what it does. That's true. People don't like meeting each other face to face anymore. Yeah, they tell you it's okay. I'll send you a message here. No, we'll meet. No, it's okay. We can do it online, virtual. Yeah, we can do it on Fortnite or something. Yeah, we're just like communicating with you. So people are starting to feel uncomfortable meeting in real life. Yeah, and this intimate meeting, looking at someone's face, looking at their eyes, looking at their facial features, is a very important part of becoming humanized. And this is another thing that he says. This is what that Professor Yuvra says. He says this is a big problem that social media is going to bring. Is that it's going to stop people from reading their emotions. They're going to stop reading each other's emotions, and then for them to bully each other is going to become easier. To bully someone, when you have to look at their eyes and look at the sadness and the tears in their eyes, it makes you think twice. When you put your head on the pillow at night time, you're going to be thinking, I wish I didn't say to that guy, look at, he was crying when I said it. But on social media, you're going to say, look at all the comments I got. Look at all the likes I got when I said that to them. Yeah? See that? What happens? So he's actually kind of like trying to look into the ethics of social media, how to ethically use it correctly. We would say how to use it according to the teachings that Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So anyway, finishing on that, I just like to say that social media is a ni'mah from Allah, and we shouldn't ban social media, right? We shouldn't just say, right, we're going to go on a rebellion, say anarchy, and right, we're going to go after, who's the tech guy now in the world? Huh?
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Zuckerberg, right? We're going to go attack Zuckerberg. Yeah, he knows everything that we're doing, right? We're going to destroy Google. We're going to, it's impossible at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to live with social media, and we are going to develop social media, but we're going to make social media ethical social media. We're going to use it in ways that will benefit us and will save other people from our own harms, right? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he used to say this as well. He used to say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika. Oh Allah, I seek refuge with you from sharr nafsi, from the evil of myself. Imagine that you ask Allah to protect yourself from your own harms, from your own evils, because you can't guarantee that you might not say something or do something which will harm your own world and akhirah. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to do that, and also may Allah give us the ability to be able to benefit mankind with our social media. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much.